I welcome everybody out though? Well, welcome out everybody, drift fans around the world. Not sure if you caught any of that. We were sequestered to silence while they were preparing for the opening ceremonies. But this is the G-Shock Presents Formula Drift Japan Championship, round 4 here at OKUIBUKI Ski and Snowboard Park. The top 16 that you see in front of you, right there just below us from the judging tower. These are the drivers that started off at 50, whittled down to 32, and now to the top 16. And we'll be taking directions from the Japanese side of things as we kick off the show with the opening ceremony. All right, well, I am Ryan Sage alongside judge and commentator Ryan Lantain sitting in. He'll be doing double duty here as he has all weekend. And now we'll begin the head-to-head matchup preview. From the Japanese side taking the lead. We've got some great battles here. First battle up on deck is #1 qualifier Kanta Yanaguida. He's making an interesting statement there, Ryan, running the American flag. I'm trying to figure out what's going on with that.
He's had it on his door for a while, and now he's running an actual flag out his window. Very interesting.
He's going to be taking on the fan favorite, at least from an aesthetics perspective, Kudai Sobagiri in that beautiful R31. Made it into the top 16 for the first time this round. Yanaguida having a tremendous event so far. That #1 qualification, 96 points, put him well above the rest of the competitors. We saw scores mostly in the mid-80s, a couple in the high 80s and 2 90s, and then Yanaguida kind of blew everybody out. And on this side of things with Kudai Subagiri, he took out the 17th place qualifier, Shuichi Mano, and was able to make it into this pretty interesting head-to-head matchup. Moving right along here, Ryohei Kitao in the C33 Laurel defeated a pretty popular driver, Kazuki Hayashi, in the round of 32. And he's going to be taking on Yoshitaka Ogane, who defeated one of the other RX-7s in the lineup this weekend at Manabu Fujinaka. Great battle. Really amazing battle, fun to watch. And then moving right along, we've got #4 qualifier, Jin Harino. After a one more time battle with Yusuke Kusaba, he's going to be taking on Katsuhiro Ueo. Looked like Ueo was going to be out of competition after a really bad chase run, a very surprisingly bad chase run against Junji Yamamoto. But Yamamoto made a big mistake of his own. It reverted back to the lead runs, and Ueo was able to capture what could have been a big defeat for him. He turned it into a loss, so he's going to be taking on Jin Harino. And a very interesting matchup here for the championship, which we'll talk more about, Ryan, and kind of set the stage for what has happened so far, because something big has happened. But Koichi Yamashita, the winner of Fuji, currently in second place, just 28 points outside of first place. He's going to be taking on Kazuya Matsukawa, one of 3 drivers on the Droopy team, 2 AE85s and 1 86 new model. So they'll be doing battle on the left-hand side of the bracket. On the right-hand side of the bracket, we move over to our other championship contender at Current. After a disappointing finish in Fuji, getting knocked out early, the 3-time champion, number 100, Andrew Gray, had a bye in the round of 32 after a competition timeout from Tomohiro Murayama. And now is setting his sights on this driver here, car 888, Kenji Yamada, who was able to defeat the other S15 of Yuichi Amagai. Yamada qualified 15th, Gray, number 2. No surprise there. And moving right along, you see there in front of you, Tetsuya Kume, the 7th place qualifier. Ryan talked a lot about how well he had been doing in some of his practice runs. Our one and only Australian in the mix has looked pretty solid. I thought his last battle in the top 32 against Tadahiro Fukada laid down both a really clean lead and chase run. Has not only quite a few fans here locally, but also a lot of people watching from Australia cheering on Matthew Hill. Benjamin Chiam is going to be his opponent. Excuse me, Tetsuya Kume is going to be his opponent. The next driver, next pair up, is going to be Kazuhiro Kubo going up against Benjamin Chiam, the standalone Singaporean driver out here this weekend. He's been fighting the car a little bit, maybe too gripped up, but now he's in the top 16 after defeating Kazuhiro Kubo. After defeating our other championship contender, Wataru Masuyama, who is out of competition after the vehicle had a big mechanical dysfunction. And so he is out. And right alongside Masuyama in the championship was Shinji Minowa. Our last battle in the top 16 is going to see him facing Hayato Miyoshi, who defeated the standalone female driver, Yukiko Ishiguro. And that is the top 16 right there. So those are the previews. And now we will start preparing the drivers, letting them know to get in their vehicles and head on down to kick this thing off. Just a few minutes out from starting off our first battle with Yanaguida and Sabagiri. Ryan, before we get into where the championship lies and what happened with Wataru Masuyama and how no matter what happens here today, the championship is certainly going to constrict, what did you make of the top 32 action?
Some great battles, Ryan. Some big upsets, though, in those battles. We were looking at Benjamin Chiam a minute ago. He was qualified 30th. And he beat out Masuyama, who's in 3rd. And that is because, initially, because of Masuyama's big malfunction. They didn't even get to battle, essentially. We didn't know who would have come out on top in that one. It had, Masuyama broke, so ended the run before it even really began. He just got to initiation, and the car broke. But Benjamin Chiam, 30th qualifier, makes it into top 16. Then we had a couple of other upsets out there. Ueo ended up beating Yamamoto, so that's the 20th qualified driver beating the 13th. So Ueo, like we were saying earlier, real wild card. You never know what you're going to get from him, but he managed to put together an incredible lead lap, and he won out against Yamamoto as they both completed in their chase runs. We reverted to the leads, and that's where he got away with that win. But we've had some fun battles. It was pretty cool to see the two RX-7 FD3S cars of Fujinaka and Ogane go up against one another, and Ogane came out on top. That's another upset. 24th qualifier beating the 9th place qualifier. But that was one of the better battles we saw, wasn't it? Close tandem, really good mimic from both drivers, and they put together a good battle, but Ogane came out on top. So we're looking at some interesting battles in 16 now. Harino and Ueo stand out. That stands out as one that could be potentially really fun. Kume and Matty Hill. Kume's been putting together some really great runs in practice, and he qualified 7th. Matty Hill qualified 10th, so they're pretty closely matched in terms of qualifying position, so that should be a lot of fun to watch. Yamada and Gray, that's the potential for a great battle there as well. So we have some fun battles here coming up, and it's only going to get more fun as these guys get whittled down. We get into the grade 8. It's just going to get, the greatness is going to get filtered down, and we're going to get all of the best going up against each other on this tight course that, like we said, may be small, but is far from simple, with outside zone 1 being really technical and very dangerous as well. If you overstep that zone just a little bit, you can end up getting caught by that foam block, one of those foam blocks out there, and getting sucked into the wall. So really, really tricky there. You don't want to be too far inside. You don't want to be too far outside either. It's really difficult coming up the hill to gauge how much momentum you need and exactly what speed you should carry, when you should initiate. I know that's the same everywhere, but it's especially dangerous here with that big wall that we have there.
And we have seen some people go into the wall, and certainly it can cause a lot of damage. Luckily, we have those foam blocks that really help suppress a lot of the force for drivers that do get a little out of whack. We've got a freshly painted course, drones in the air, and of course, thank you to all of the fans and friends that are watching around the world, and including all the regulars, Julian Simmons and Living the Drift Life. Saw Sherilyn from Achilles pop in quite a few times, so thank you guys for joining us. It's about 1:49 local time here. As soon as we get our first pair up, we're going to kick this bad boy off. But you are watching the G-Shock Presents Formula Drift Japan Championship Round 4 here at OKUIBUKI Ski and Snowboard Park. And Ryan, with really only one round to go, this would be the equivalent of the Texas round in terms of accumulating championship points. Masuyama had done a really good job in terms of getting out there to an early lead. He had that win in Suzuka. He's really come on strong in terms of bringing his head-to-head game up quite a few notches. But unfortunately, like we see for all contenders, there's always a round or two where they struggle, either with driving themselves or with the car. And this round in particular, we did have some wet conditions early on, but it's been dry more or less for the main parts of competition, and it ended up being something mechanical that knocked him out. So we're going to be looking at Andrew Gray, we're going to be looking at Yamashita, we're going to be looking at Shinji Minowa, and of course Katsuhiro Ueo, who's currently in 4th place right now, in terms of how they finish this event and what that might do to the overall championship lead.
The thing that is interesting now, we have this tight, small technical track that is going to be so pivotal for the points. Masuyama just got knocked out in 32, so that's going to open up the points quite a bit, as you said. We're going to Okayama next. Okayama is a much faster track. The cars that are at an advantage here at this track are typically not the high horsepower cars, as that isn't really going to give you much of an advantage. But going to Okayama, those big horsepower cars could potentially have a bit of an advantage on that style track.
All right, so OKUIBUKI is in front of us right now. Okayama to come. We'll take a quick commercial break. We'll get our first pair up and be right back here at the G-Shock Presents Formula Drift Japan Championship. Welcome back, everybody. The G-Shock Presents Formula Drift Japan Championship, round 4 of 5 here at OKUIBUKI Ski and Snowboard Park. We are set and ready to go in the top 16. You can see in the background cars coming out of the burnout box, and that should be our first pair up. Kanta Yanaguida taking on Kudai Sobagiri, the 16th place qualifier going up against the first place qualifier. 96 is what he logged and looked phenomenal. Took out Tomoyuki Kitashiba in his round of 32 and trying to make a dent in this championship chase. But Sobagiri has looked pretty solid overall, and it looks like we've got a good battle on our hands. Both drivers getting the signal. Let's get this started. Here we go. First battle of the top 16. Yanaguina through the chicane. Heading up. Straight line approach. Snaps it into initiation. Fills that box. Sobagiri coming up hot. He's going to stop. They may flag Yanaguida. No, they're not. They're going to let Yanaguida finish the run. Sobagiri is going to get back on it, but he's not going to be in the fight. So now the judges' work comes into play. Who was at fault for the contact there? You saw Sobagiri unable to finish and pull through. Ryan, walk us through this replay.
Watching it live, it looked like Sobagiri just overdid it, tried to catch up in an area where we know that the lead driver is going to be slowing down a bit, and that looks like what happened here on the replay as well. In the lead position, Kanta Yanaguida looks like he's doing everything that he should be doing. He's putting the car in the right place. He's going to the zones, filling those zones, getting to the close to the inside clips, doing a good job, not slowing down too aggressively in any one position on the track. But Sobagiri just got a little bit too excited there. Felt like he needed to be close, and he probably, was justified in that, knowing that he's going up against Yanaguida. Can't really give that kid any kind of room whatsoever because he will take off on you and show you how it's done up in the lead position. So you got to stay close, and you can't let him get away. But unfortunately, Sobagiri, it looks like he just made a miscalculation there and got a little bit too close.
So the other two judges, we will determine whether or not they think the same thing. Sounds like Ryan is going against Sobagiri now in this second run. He's going to initiate beyond the inside of outside zone 2. Good adjustment there by Yanaguida to take the line of Sobagiri. Sobagiri better on outside zone 2. A little bit on the inside is Yanaguida trying to close the door. Final section through that last inside clip. And Sobagiri goes a little bit wide. Keeps the door open for Yanaguida. It should be an easy call if the fault goes to Sobagiri. But here's the chase run from Yanaguida. Tell us what you saw.
Well, you had it right, Ryan, in the lead position there. Sobagiri did not fill outside zone 1. He was quite a bit off of that zone. Pretty good on inside clip 1, which Yanaguida hit in the chase position. Sobagiri does a good job in the second half of outside zone 2, but Yanaguida's right there with him, mimicking the line, mimicking the style, mimicking the angle. Everything that Sobagiri is doing in the lead, Yanaguida was doing in the chase. Not super close, but pretty decent proximity there. Not enough to really get himself in trouble, but not far enough back to be an issue either.
Slide him left for Sobagiri, right for Kanta Yanaguida. And that'll solidify the win, but it's going to be unanimous. All three judges going for car 5-7. Kanta Yanaguida moving on into the Great 8. All right, so Yanaguida continues his phenomenal driving here this weekend. And he will wait for his Great 8 battle, who will be up against the winner of this next battle here. Ryohei Kitao, car 111, taking on Yoshitaka Ogane. Ogane with the tremendous battle against Manabu Fujinaka in the round of 32. Now the competition's going to get a little bit more tight here. Kitao, our number 8 qualifier, so looking solid there. Ogane down the list a little bit, qualified 24th. So he's going to be running in that chase position, first battle out. Here we go. Both drivers leave the line at the same time. The chase driver can leave early if he feels that he needs to. Coming up the hill. Quick snap to initiation there. Deep into outside zone 1. Big angle. Ogane trying to find an opportunity to attack. Comes through the smoke line, follows him. He taps the wall. Almost shuts it down, loses a bumper and some parts. Aggressive driving from Ogane. But making a little bit of mistake in doing so. And those walls do not move. Ryan, let's take a look here, see how this thing got started.
Clearly, Kitao is a little bit slower in that Laurel of his. It's not the fastest car on the grid here. He's running the 15s with 195, so he's making the best of what he has, though. Look at the way he's maximizing the course, going all the way out wide, and in the chase position, you see Ogane trying to maintain drift behind him and mimic what he's doing, but he just overshot outside zone 2, tapped the wall there, lost angle, stalled out, got back on throttle. Ogane lost angle again at outside zone number 3, so it looks like Ogane struggled in the chase position there. He did manage to maintain proximity, but he did make some pretty big errors. In the lead position, Kitao was pretty solid. Did a great job in outside zone 1. Didn't do bad in outside zone 2. Pretty clean to the finish line as well. But let's see how things change now that the roles have been reversed. Kitao is clearly the slower car here. I'm going to see how much slower as they go up the hill towards initiation.
So inspecting the vehicle there of Ogane, looks to be mostly aesthetic. Off screen, there are still a few staff workers on track. Looks like they've climbed over the wall now, so we should be getting this underway pretty quickly here. Looks like the starter is getting into position. But yes, definitely rip wing on that one. All right, here we go, second half of the battle. Ogane starting to rocket away. Just like you said, Ryan, he initiates way before the third standing cone, fills that outside zone. Kitao trying to chase him down here. Ogane deep into that outside zone, holds it pretty much all the way around. A little bit less angle there. You can see the speed difference, especially in more critical areas of the course. And Kitao did have a solid lead run. Ogane with that mistake. But Ogane comes back on this second run, Ryan, and seemed like he had a pretty good handle on his lead run.
Did a great job at outside zone 1. Watch his right rear tire here, right inside the box, maybe a couple of feet off that outside line. But in the chase position, Kitao didn't do too bad. You know, he's mimicking his line pretty well. Ogane hit that inside clip 1 pretty significantly, while in the chase, Kitao is not doing a bad job. Sure, he fell off from outside zone 3 to the finish, based mostly on horsepower there. But watching the overhead here, you're going to be able to see exactly the distance between the cars, and that I don't think Kitao really cheated much to get that proximity that he had. So maybe angle right here a little bit less, but Ogane doesn't do a great job by running over that inside clip. Kitao not really that far inside through outside zone number 2, mimicking pretty well, but does lose proximity from outside zone 3 to the finish line.
All right, so a tough one here in the second battle in the top 16. The next pair, you can see that smoke coming in front of the camera there is actually smoke from the burnout box as we await the judge's decision on this battle.
That seemed like a Ueo burnout right there.
Oh, definitely.
You can hear him from here too. All right, just waiting on results. They're all in. Just waiting to see it pop up on the screen.
Here we go. 1 vote for Kitao. 2, that'll solidify it. And 1 judge goes with a 1 more time, and that was Robbie Nishida. How do you feel about that, Ryan?
Well, I feel pretty good about it, as I'm one of the judges that made the call to vote for Kitao. I just felt that Ogane made a couple of mistakes that were unforgivable, especially that wall tap in the chase that straightened him up and made him kind of stall the car up before he got back on throttle. That was the major one for me in the chase. And lead to lead, I felt that it was similar, but that Kitao did a great job in outside zone 2 as well. So overall, I thought Kitao did better.
All right, here we go. Next battle up, Jin Harino taking on Katsura Ueo. Ueo had a pretty tough time in the top 32. Let's see if he can make a strong comeback here. He had trouble in his chase run, but was kind of gifted a win against Junji Yamamoto. Jin Harino having a great event this weekend, solid qualification, gets a nice initiation there. This time Ueo is keeping the pressure on. Coming into that inside clip, stays off, it doesn't knock it down, but you can see surging is Ueo. He's gonna come off the line a little bit, really, really close. He's on a tighter line. This may hurt him coming down, but he's able to manage to get through that inside clip. And as expected, Ueo, much more grip there. It actually may have hurt him a little bit on angle and line, but he kept the pressure on. Ryan, let's take a look at this one more time.
Looked like he had a hard time maintaining drift behind Jin Harino, just based on Harino's speed. You can see there that Ueo is surging forward and then having to slow down and surging forward again. Seems like every time he gets on throttle, he's threatening to run into the back of Harino, but Harino does straighten pretty significantly there. And part of Ueo's issue there would have been him straightening. That would have been difficult for him to follow through that area where you're expecting to be full throttle from the end of zone 2 to zone 3 to the inside clip number 2. So Harino did not fulfill all the lead driver goals and responsibilities. Definitely made some errors there in the lead, and so did Ueo in the chase. Now we go to the second run, and let's see what Ueo can do in the lead now that he has some clean air behind or in front of him in the lead position.
Urino smartly gets out of the gate early, but it is to no avail. Rocket ship up the hill, fulfilling that outside zone and blowing the doors off of it here is Katsuhiro Ueno, staying deep into that second outside zone. It's definitely going to match and better the lead run of Hirino. Just goes a little bit wide there at that inside clip, but Hirino was not really a factor in his chase run, Ryan.
Not at all, and you can see the speed difference here, and that's why Ueno had such a hard time behind Hirino. But look at the way that Ueno is on throttle. He's filling outside zone 1. Lots of wheel speed through inside clip number 1. Does a good job actually through outside zone 2. Ueno's doing excellent in the lead, while in the chase you got Hirino going 2 wheels off, over-rotating, kind of stalling out and having to get back on throttle. So not a clean chase from Hirino, but a pretty decent lead run from Ueno, sticking to all the lead driver responsibilities, doing what he's supposed to, while being fast and definitely aggressive.
Quickly moving through this top 16, and it is yet another unanimous victory. All 3 judges going in favor of Katsuhiro Ueno, who puts himself in good position here. He'll move on into the Great 8.
So that's the second driver that Ueno has upset in the top 32. 20th place qualifier Ueno beat 13th place qualifier Yamamoto, and now Ueno, who is again 20th, beat out 4th place Hirino to make him into the Grade 8.
So a consequential battle on the line right now for the championship. We quickly teased it in the intro, but the winner of the Fuji round just a few weeks ago on the line in the lead position as your number 5 qualifier, Koichi Yamashita, taking on Kazuya Matsukawa, the other droopy driver in the 85. Yamashita rocket ship up, and Matsukawa not letting him get away, but he's going to pull some angle out of the car. He was surging forward but did not have the power to get out of that turn. And now Yamashita is looking solid through that third outside zone, trying to link up this last corner. Does it perfectly. And the Velino driver looking solid on that first half of the battle.
On first blush, Ryan, it looked like in the chase position there, Matsukawa tried to stay close at initiation, had to slow down a little bit because he dove in a bit there, and when he did that, he wasn't able to maintain momentum. He maybe slowed down a little too much behind Yamashita. Now, Yamashita in the lead did a great job in zone 1, tire right in the box and outside zone 2, looking really smooth, really settled in the lead position, while in the chase, Matsukawa is playing catch-up after that stall-up at outside zone 1. So Matsukawa was never really in the chase there. He wasn't really where he should be, didn't have the car positioned very well after outside zone 1, and it looked like he just dove in a little too aggressively, which hurt himself in that situation.
So probably some strategery going to be needed here from Yamashita in the chase position, whether or not to attack early on or give a little bit of room. Looks like he's going to give some room here to Matsukawa, who does a pretty good job on outside zone 1. A little bit tighter line is Yamashita. Now he's looking for an opportunity to attack. He dives in right here on that second outside zone. Keeps it close. Through outside zone 3. Near door to door. Tucks up on the inside. Just takes it. Oh! And Yamashita unwinds it right before the finish line. He was surging aggressively, Ryan. He got caught up a little bit on a tighter line. Hit that inside clip. And tell us what happened.
You have to give it to him for being aggressive. He's making a lot of effort here, and I like to see that kind of initiative. Just maybe could have made it work a little bit better. Looking at the lead position, Matsukawa gets into outside zone 2 late, leaves it a little bit early, and then you've got Yamashita there trying to maintain proximity and ends up going a little bit tight and maybe has lower angle going over the finish line. I can't say that it's straight, but this overhead view is going to give us everything that we need to see.
Let's pretend it's straight for sake of argument, right? That would mean 2 incompletes in the chase.
Well, did Matsukawa incomplete in the chase? Yeah, I guess you could say that he did. Looking here, Yamashita is following the line. He's not cheating anywhere at all. You can see that he's matching Matsukawa, his line. Only right there that he dive in slightly. He still had angle over the finish line. It was just a little bit less. But I think that given that his proximity was really great, he was pushing really hard throughout the run. And if you looked at Matsukawa's chase, of course, that was not great what he did in the chase position there. He didn't lose drift either. He stalled up quite a bit. Being in the chase, you're not really dealing with having to fulfill the responsibility as a lead car to do a chaseable lead. So that stall out wasn't really that kind of mistake.
And all three judges go to Koichi Yamashita. For me, either way, I think it was going to be Yamashita no matter what, even if you did incomplete both runs, because he still had the better lead.
Correct.
Right? And if you don't incomplete both runs, he still wins because he's got 2 complete runs where Matsukawa maybe only had 1 if you go that direction.
Right, but the chase, that was pretty damn ugly in the chase position. That is not ideal. It's not what you want to see. You have to give kudos to Matsukawa for trying. Yamashita is somebody who is a very formidable opponent. Drives very fast, powerful car, and kind of hard to keep up with sometimes. So the fact that Matsukawa was able to keep up with him to initiation and through outside zone 1 is great. He just misjudged how much he had to slow down behind him and cause himself to stall out there.
Yep, and it's worth noting that when you guys do zero out 2 chase runs and we're looking at the lead runs, it's because that is the action that you can judge on course, right? Whereas if you have 2 lead runs zero out, the run is essentially shut down. You don't have that option.
Exactly.
All right, Andrew Gray, 3rd place in points, taking on Kenji Yamada. Straight line burnout all the way up into initiation, just on the inside. He's going to smoke this place out with Yamada trying to cut through the smoke line. Big angle from Yamada. He pulls angle out. He doesn't take it back to 0, but it was a big mistake in the chase trying to surge forward to catch Andrew Gray, who was in that rocket ship that we all know about, Ryan. And as we take a look at this replay here, I'd love to get your take on Kenji Yamada's approach into outside zone 2.
Let's look at outside zone 1. You see Andy Gray get the car to angle. Maybe not the snappiest initiation, but he does get the tire in the box. In the chase position, you see Yamada's just trying to keep up. He's in no way in control of what he's doing right now in terms of proximity or where he's positioning his car. He's just trying to stay and drift behind Andrew Gray while trying to make up some ground, which is a very difficult thing to do behind Andrew Gray when he is on his game, which he seems to be today in that JZX 100. He's doing a great job in the lead, putting the car where it needs to be, and in the chase position there, Yamada is just not able to keep up. Now, the big challenge for Andrew Gray is how is he going to do behind a slower car like Yamada? How much room does he give him going up the hill, and where does he attack and actually get himself into the pocket next to Yamada?
Well, we speculated whether or not that buy run was beneficial or hurtful to Andrew Gray. It looks like no problem so far. Let's see how he does in the chase run. On the inside of outside zone 1 is Yamada. Gray adjusts appropriately. Now snapping back around. This time Yamada gets deep into that second outside zone, but Gray follows him perfectly. A little bit less angle there from Yamada in the lead as he leaves outside zone 3, but here comes Gray through that final inside clip. And I think he knows, because he's got great spotter, the mistake that Yamada made in the chase position, knowing that you need to keep the pressure on, but Yamada had a big mistake.
Great job by Andrew Gray here of calculating just how much he had to push and how much room to give Yamada. He wasn't far away from him in initiation, but you can see he caught up by inside clip 1, and he's only about a car width apart through the rest of the course. He's nice and tight. Yamada is doing a decent lead run. He's not filling the zones as he should, but at least he's on throttle. He's maintaining pace, and he's getting through the course as he should. Maybe not as accurately as he should, but Andrew Gray is just positioning his car exactly where it needs to be in the chase to be safe and to, as he did here, get the win.
And no surprise there, all 3 judges unanimously go in favor of Andrew Gray, who was clawing his way back after a disappointing finish at Fuji Speedway. He is now into the Grade 8, and he will be facing the winner of the next pair up. Highly anticipated battle here for many of the Australians that are visiting with us here locally, but also watching online. It's Matty Hill taking on Tetsuya Kume. Hill and Kume qualified pretty close to each other. Hill with number 10 qualification, Kume number 7. And we've been watching him do pretty well this weekend, Kume that is. So we will wait for both drivers to get to the line.
Yeah, they've both been really fun to watch. Kume, through practice especially, was on it pretty quick on this track. Matty Hill, it's his first time here, so it took him a little bit longer to adjust to the track, figure it out. But Kume has been on it pretty well since the first practice session, even though it was in the rain. But they're both really entertaining to watch, and I think this is going to be a great matchup. It seems like, based on their qualifying position, pretty close. And I think driving style-wise, they should be pretty well matched. This should be fun.
Well, you can hear some of the fans here locally cheering on Matty Hill. Kume trying to knock him out of competition. Here we go, run number 1. Really close there on initiation is Matty Hill. They initiate together. Pretty good job by Kume out front. Hill was on a little bit of a tighter line, but he's keeping the proximity on. Good transition back around, diving through the smoke line, and now Kume deep into that second outside zone. A good line being drawn here to outside zone 3. Final section here, both drivers pushing through that finish line. And not a bad way to start that one off, Ryan.
That was one of my favorite mimics at initiation that I've seen here all weekend. Watch Matty Hill as he initiates behind Kume. The timing, watch this. Beautiful, exactly the same timing pretty much. That is what we're looking for when we say mimic. You want to be doing what the other driver's doing at the same time. Slightly off there on transition mimic-wise, but his line is great. The angle's pretty well matched as well. So Matty Hill's doing a good job here. Proximity could be better for Matty Hill, though. He could be a little bit tighter to Kume. A couple of car lengths away there in some sections, and a bit of a tighter line he took from outside zone 1 to inside clip 1. But like we told him in the driver's meeting, if you feel you need to make a sacrifice somewhere to maintain or gain proximity, do it and get back online, and that's precisely what Matty did. He cheated a little bit and then got right back online through the rest of the run. I'm
into that. Here we go. Second run. Hill out front this time. Pretty good job on outside zone 1. A little bit less angle there from Kume. He dives in. He makes contact with that inside clip. Hill right up against the wall, deep into that outside zone. Kume pouring the pressure on. Good back and forth battle between these guys. Here we go through the final turn. Kume's got to keep the pressure on and does a pretty good job of that, but a really solid lead run, especially on outside zone 2 by Matty Hill.
These drivers are both really well matched. This is an awesome battle. I'm glad that it worked out this way. At some point in time today, they're really well matched the way that they're driving. You know, the Kume was a little bit off on his initiation mimic, especially compared to what Matty did. But check out where Kume is following him, doing a great job throughout the course, and maybe a little bit better proximity in some areas. But Matty Hill, I think, might have had a little bit of an edge on the lead-to-lead comparison, especially through outside zone 2. So let's look at the aerial view, and you can see there Kume was a little bit behind, but kind of dove in on the initiation, going to outside zone 1. And maintained proximity pretty well, but he was on an inside line a little bit at the beginning of outside zone 2 in comparison. So he did cheat a little bit, just as Matty did. Angle-wise, he's also cheating a little bit there throughout the course. So both drivers kind of cheating in both positions, but we're going to have to come down and see who did a better job overall in the 3 of our eyes.
I'm sensing some kind of a thing called a one more time from you, Ryan.
Maybe.
I'm sensing it.
They were very well matched. That was a great battle. Not a lot of mistakes made, just good, clean driving from both drivers.
Well, one more time there from Andy Yen, Ryan Lontaine also, and Robbie Nishida. Okay, all 3 judges in agreement there. It's going to be a one more time, and I think that was definitely well-deserved, kind of picking that one apart. Ryan did a great job of breaking that down for us, but I think it was right at that threshold of a one more time. So up here in the judging booth, we've got Ryan, of course, next to me, but we've also got Andy Yen and Robbie Nishida.
You could just hear them actually debating the call that we all 3 made.
Oh, really?
Kind of justifying the one more time, saying, you know, this guy did a little bit better there, this guy did a little bit better there. They both did great. They both had a little bit of a sacrifice here and there, but it's funny how we keep talking about the battles even after the battles are done up here.
Oh, there's never an end to talking about drifting. All right, here we go. Kubo versus Benjamin Chiam. Chiam has been very gripped up all weekend. Can he manage a chase run here against Kubo? Has been pretty consistent. Kubo a little bit late into that outside zone. Opens it up for Chiam as he goes real wide, leaving outside zone 2. Chiam tucking that nose in right after inside clip number 2. And let's take a look at this one more time.
Yeah, Kubo made some mistakes here that are sort of uncharacteristic of him. Outside zone 1, as the car gets to angle here, not getting even near it. So quite a ways away from outside zone 1 is Kubo. And then as he transitions here, same thing with outside zone 2, but he does go wide after it and drops 2 tires over that yellow line. In the chase position, you've got Benjamin Chiam taking advantage of that and getting his car as close as he can next to Kubo throughout the rest of the run. But in terms of a lead driver responsibility side of things, Kubo left a lot on the table there. He did not fulfill outside zone 1, outside zone 2, dropped 2 tires after that, and maybe through the rest was a little bit cleaner, but definitely through the majority of the track, not doing what he's supposed to.
All right, so now switching things up, Benjamin Chiam in the lead position with the door open. Drone in the middle and Kubo on the right-hand side of your screen. Chiam shuts the door, and we will get this battle underway. Here we go. Kubo smartly gets out of the gate a little bit early, try to hang with that really fast and quick Supra of Benjamin Chiam. Two-step initiation there for Chiam. Pretty good job on that first outside zone. He's back on the throttle over the bridge through that inside clip. Uh-oh, Kubo on the inside, misses the outside zone completely. He's almost going to get pinched off. Makes a mistake in the chase position, and Chiam is making him pay for it now because he filled the lead driver's responsibilities on outside zone 2.
It was a weird run-up from Benjamin Chiam. He didn't really look like he was super aggressive going up the hill, especially with the amount of power that car has. Kubo took advantage of it, though, and stayed nice and close to him. And initiation, you can see that Chiam did a much better job on outside zone 1. Already, Kubo's having problems in the chase, and right here he dives in way too early, and he's got to stall up and try to stay behind Benjamin Chiam. And then as they come down towards inside clip number 2, Benjamin did pull a gap away on him again.
All right, so scores starting to drop in from the judges here on this top 16 battle. Benjamin Chiam, the standalone Singaporean here this weekend, usually see Sheng Nian, but he has got a family ordeal, and it is going to be one more time, and 2 judges going in favor of Benjamin Chiam.
Ryan, we're getting some interesting information.
Go ahead.
It seems that a driver was doing some burnouts, perhaps, during the driver intro ceremony thingy, and broke his differential. Isn't that a terrible way to do that?
Yes.
And
who was it?
Miyoshi, the driver that's supposed to be up against Minoa right now.
Ah.
Yeah.
And so he's calling a competition timeout?
I think he already did, but he could not fix it.
No way.
Isn't that terrible, Ryan?
Unbelievable.
People want to have fun in the driver intros, you know, do some donuts, maybe some twin donuts, maybe some triple donuts if you want to get really crazy. And sometimes doing that does cost you the opportunity to go up head-to-head in tandem battle.
That is a very unfortunate circumstance that is just coming across our desk here. Hayato Miyoshi, the number 11 qualifier, who has dazzled us with some amazing initiations at places like Suzuka Twin, is out of competition due to braking prior to actually making it out on the course. And from what we heard, it was during the top 16 introduction. So unfortunately for him, but fortunately for Shinji Minowa, one will be knocked out and one will be moving on into the Great 8.
Minoa would not have won based on the run he just did right there. It's a good thing that was a bye run. He came up the hill pretty aggressively, locked up the fronts, got into a bit of an understeer situation, got the car to angle, then straightened up a bit after outside zone 2. Thankfully, this run is not judged. All he has to do is prove that his car works, and I think that was probably a very nice little practice, you know, a little test for him coming into top 16. Maybe a little bit, you know, maybe the brain's a little cold, the car's a little cold after the break between 32 and 16, but now he should be properly warmed up and ready to go for the Grade 8 battle that he will have against Benjamin Chiam in his Toyota Supra.
So the Grade 8 is pretty much set. The last spot is going to go to this the winner of this one more time battle. It's Yanaguida, Kitao, Ueo, Yamashita, Andrew Gray, Benjamin Chiam, Shinji Minowa, and the winner of Tetsuya Kume and Matty Hill on the line right now. The one more time battle was unanimous, so we know that it was very close between both of these drivers. And we should get another good one here.
It's going to come down to somebody making a mistake, I think, on this one, because they're so tightly matched. They're so close in their speed and driving style that it's going to come down to somebody making an error, I believe.
And once again, Matty Hill gets out of the gate really strong. Tip to tail there on initiation. Nice job getting in the pocket by Matty Hill. Kume leading a really solid, good run into outside zone 2. Once again, a good back and forth battle. A little bit of angle unwinded by Kume out front. And Matty nearly grazes that back bumper right through the finish line.
Bravo. We didn't really get to see much of Matty Hill's skills, let's say, at the first round that we saw him compete in, which was Fuji Speedway. But look at his mimic here again on initiation. The timing is perfect. Just great. That is what we want to see. That is awesome. Good job, Matt, there. And you can see that he's maintaining proximity. One of the interesting things I thought here was that Matty Hill matched him pretty well right until about here, where Kume actually lost angle, but Matt kept the angle behind him. So, you know, in the past, we talk about the chase driver. You need to match the line. You need to match or better the angle. And people would say, or better the angle? Where could that ever happen? And right here it did. Matty Hill was actually better than the lead car while maintaining the proximity, not falling behind him either. Maintaining that proximity all the way through that area, he was matching or bettering the angle of the lead car. So
I'm with
there
it.
we go. We just proved that that is an actual thing. But
I'm with it.
I love his initiation. Great job there. Keep it up.
All right, so the force seems to be on the side of Matty Hill so far, but he's got another half battle to go. Kume initiates very early, and he allows a gap to be established. So it looks like Matty gets the better of that section. And also outside zone 2, Kume was a little bit on the inside. He's got good proximity here. But Matty now starting to pull a gap, and he is peaking at the right time against a great competitor of Tetsuya Kume. But Ryan, I think you would have to admit the combination of those two runs seemed to be very tough to beat against anybody going up against Matty Hill driving like that.
Yeah, we're pleasantly surprised. I've never seen Matt Hill drive other than Fuji, and it wasn't great. Maybe that big track his first time. This is phenomenal. He's doing an awesome job. He's clearly listening in the driver's meeting. He's putting the car where we tell him to put the car. He's doing a great job in the chase position, and he's really showcasing his skills here. This is pure talent coming out of Australia. Good job, Matty. I think he might get the win here. Here we go. The results are coming up now. And Deanne says Matt Hill. I know what I said. I said Matty Hill as well. And then Robbie says Matty Hill. There you go. He does get the win over Tetsuya Kume. So Matty Hill is going to be going up against Andrew Gray in the Great 8. So he has stepped up to the plate, and now he needs to knock one out of the park up against Andrew Gray.
Unanimous victory there from Matty Hill. So continuing his progress in the FD Japan Series, making it look very solid there against a strong competitor. All right, so we've been given the sign to take a quick commercial break as we've now locked in the winners from the top 16 going into the Great 8. We'll be right back at the G-Shock Presents Formula Drift Japan Championship here at OKUIBUKI Ski and Snowboard Park.
ではこちらピットレポートです。山下選手にいろいろ伺いたいと思います。よろしくお願いします。はい。では順調ですね、山下選手。
そうですね。16は松川選手と、前回のリベンジをできたんで良かったなと思います。
Looks like you're doing great.
では、今後の流れを皆さん注目されていると思いますが、意気込み教えていただいてもよろしいでしょうか。
とりあえずは目の前の対戦を一歩一歩
for this event, each guy I go against,
やっていきたいなと思うんですけ
that's all I'm
ど、
concentrating
まあでも
on
やっ
is
ぱり
trying to beat
狙う
the
と
guys
ころ
that I'm
は
going
一番
against.
高いところ
Every
なんで、でもまあ目の前の対戦を
That's probably the
一歩
most
一歩
important thing for me right now. Is just concentrate on who I'm going against at that time.
ありがとうございます。
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Robbie. That was really nicely
Back
done.
to you.
And back to us. There you go, Ryan.
Well, thank you very much. As we bring it back here to the commentary booth, if you didn't recognize that silky smooth voice, that was ex-pro Formula Drift driver Robbie Nishida. And he will definitely be piping in every now and again. I've been told that we will hear from our sideline commentator a few more times throughout the event.
Here's hoping, Ryan.
And that was Hazuki.
Hazuki.
Yes, I believe. All right, so we are now into the grade 8, and it's been a really amazing competition so far in the top 16. Certainly lived up to expectations. The grade 8 bracket is set with Kanta Yanaguida taking on Ryohei Kitao. Will be our first battle up. Then we'll be moving on to, this is going to be a good one, Katsura Ueo taking on Koichi Yamashita. And then Andrew Gray and Matty Hill, which it should be another tremendous battle, especially as Ryan, as you said in the break, if Matty Hill can maintain the pace of Andrew Gray. And then finally, the last battle of the grade 8, Benjamin Chiam versus Shinji Minowa.
And Andy N just showed me a picture of Miyoshi's car, the part that broke. Originally they thought it was the diff, but it was actually the drive shaft that twisted and kind of like a pretzel. So it definitely was not relaying the power to the rear wheels anymore. And that's why he had to bow out of competition, giving Shinji Minowa the easy win with the bye run.
Well, unfortunately, those things do happen, as you now see smoke in the background there of our first battle up. He's on a tear. Number 1 qualifier, Kanta Yanaguida, car number 57. Making a statement here this weekend in more ways than one. And Ryan, I think many would argue that the newly powered vehicle that he's driving with the 2J seems to suit him a lot better. And we saw some shades of it at Fuji, but didn't really get to have the full presence of it. And now at this event, it's really been showing us some great opportunities. Some great opportunities have presented him to show us how well he is doing in that vehicle.
I think that they did a great job of getting him up to speed to FD Japan in the SR-powered car for as long as they did. And he did a great job in that car with the SR in it. But they realized that, okay, I think he's got his stuff together pretty well now. We can probably give him a little more power. They put the 2J in, and he is just able to utilize every little bit of the power of that car while being comfortable placing it where he needs to. So I don't think it was one of those rushed decisions. You know, it was done in a very thoughtful way and got him to really develop his skills before giving him the power, and he's truly prepared for it now.
Go ahead and get calculated. Here we go. Kanta Yanaguida will be the lead driver out. We know that Kitao is a little bit down on power. Smaller size tires as well. And right there, going to be tapping that cone at the exit of outside zone 1. A gap established here. Kitao's going to go a little bit wide from outside zone 2, but really up front, Yanaguida showing a tremendous amount of grip and speed advantage in the lead run.
Yeah, there's definitely a power deficit here between the two. You can see that Kanta Yanaguida is not trying to get away. He's definitely fulfilling the lead driver goals. He's hitting all the points. But in the chase position, Kitao just can't maintain pace. It's just something that lightweight and small tires can't make up for. You know, it's difficult to keep up to that kind of car. And you can see right here, he actually goes a little bit wide and has to drop some speed, which really hurts him in the chase position, where Kanta's on the right line, on throttle where he should be, plus he's got that extra power, and it just rockets him ahead in that area. And Kitao just fell, that had to be what, like a dozen car lengths? That was really far behind, unfortunately. So he's going to be in a deficit here coming up against Yanaguida going into the lead position. So Kitao, we know that he's a little bit slower, and I'm sure Yanaguida knows that as well. But Kitao still needs to hit all his points. Yanaguida needs to hit all the points right behind him. Doesn't want to give him too much room, but he doesn't want to be so close that he chokes himself up because of that slower speed. So this is going to be one of those balances again. He's going to have to give him a little bit of room, but not too much, and then reel him in as the run kind of comes to its conclusion. You know, you want to be close probably from outside zone 2 through to the finish, as there are no transitions there to choke you up, but you can stay close door to door, even though that lead driver is a little bit slower.
All right, so Yanaguida in the chase position, probably getting some good advice from his spotter, try to manage the distance as best he can, figure out when to attack. right, set, and ready to go. And they're off. Kitao being paced just a bit behind by Yanaguida. Both drivers initiate. Kitao, pretty good job on that outside zone. Kept that wheel right at the edge. But Yanaguida is pacing as well as he can with the higher powered vehicle, not making any punctuations and still staying on the line. So the young driver looked very mature there, Ryan, in trying to avoid any major mistakes by being pinched off or held up by the slower vehicle.
Kitao was definitely on throttle as much as he possibly could be. As he passed in front of us, he was on the rev limiter the entire way. He did a great job in outside zone 1 right here. Inside clip 1, really tight as well. Outside zone 2, got nice and close to that wall. He's not worried about denting the rear quarter on that classic car, which is it essentially is now. And by us, in front of us here, not a lot of wheel speed because, like we said, a little bit lower on power, but definitely on the rev limiter the entire way around. But Yanaguida did not let him go. He was right there the entire way through and did not seem to have any problems following that slower car.
All right, it is a unanimous victory for car 5-7, Kanta Yanaguida. He will move on into the Final Four, the first appearance of the Final Four for him in 2019. And with that #1 qualification, Ryan, that will solidify a podium position for him no matter what, because he is the #1 qualifier.
Now one of the battles I've been looking forward to, Yueo and Yamashita. This has the potential to be full of sparks and fireworks and lightning bolts and everything you want to throw. It's going to be, could be really, really wild, and I hope it is. Yueo, like I keep saying, is a wild card. He's just a loose cannon at times, but he always puts on a show and drives 110%, so this should be good.
Well, they both get out of the gate at the same time, so Yueo is giving a lot of respect here to Yamashita, and Yamashita is starting to blast up through the hill. Yueo surging and closing over the bridge through the inside clip. Yamashita takes out the inside clip. Now getting into that zone. Good job by Yueo following him. Both cars pretty evenly matched here. Yueo, big smoke line coming down the hill and driving into a smoke line of his own by Koichi Yamashita. Just as you said, Ryan, pretty phenomenal there between both drivers. Let's try to parse this one and take a look one more time.
Yeah, Yueo was, I love the line he took from outside zone 3 and still managed to get close to the lead through to the finish line. So you see there, Yamashita does a good job on outside zone 1, hits an inside clip 1. Nice line through outside zone number 2. Yueo takes a little bit tighter near the end of it there, but watch Yueo's line here. He's on throttle, didn't fall off, did a great job of mimicking the line. This overhead shot, of course, we always love. This is going to point out any little problems that we may have missed. So you see Yueo initiates a little bit earlier, following the same line as Yamashita there through outside zone 1. Good transition here, but Yueo's on a tighter line, so you can see that Yamashita is doing a good job on the outside, and Yueo is just a little bit tighter, but right here Yueo dives in, doesn't hit the clip because Yamashita hit it first and is able to stay pretty close through the finish line. Yamashita does a good job. A little bit less precision from Yamashita in the lead there than I'd like to see, hitting those both inside clips, but otherwise on the zones did pretty well by putting the tire right in the box and riding the line all the way around.
Wind starting to pick up a little bit here. Weather's been great so far, and so have the battles. Yueo initiates, fills that outside zone very well, but Yamashita's on a similar line. Big angle there from Yueo through that inside clip, deep into that second outside zone. Massive angle by Yueo, and a good adjustment there by Yamashita, who's driving through the smoke line, coming down the hill. Yueo taps that final inside clip, and applause all around up here in the judges booth. Tremendous battle there, just as expected, Ryan.
Yeah, Yueo's putting on a show in the lead. As usual, burning all the way up the hill, just smoking up to initiation. gets the car to angle really nicely. Look at his line through outside zone 1, right on the line with that tire. Perfect job. Doesn't hit inside clip 1, but Yamashita does. And then Ueo right on outside zone 2, big angle. Doesn't slow down though, manages to maintain his momentum, it looks like, through there. And Yamashita is trying to maintain proximity without getting choked up, as he's a little bit tighter on line. So I don't think we're going to get the overall view here, the overhead view, sorry, but that would have been super helpful in that sense.
All right, so we're seeing both drivers just behind the start line as we await the results from the panel of 3 judges up here. It's either driver A, driver B, or one more time. Here we go. A one more time from Andy Yen. Katsuhiro Ueo goes with 1, and it's a one more time. So a split decision there. Ryan, you went with Katsuhiro Ueo. The other 2 judges went with one more time. How close were you to one more time?
I really was close, but the aggressiveness of Ueo while being in control and putting his car in the right place it's a hard thing to overlook. He's just so precise while being so wild at the same time, being on throttle everywhere, full throttle all the time. It's not just the smoke. That's a result of maybe the tires, but it's the amount of throttle that he uses everywhere. He's so committed to what he's doing in the car, and I just love watching that.
All right, so we've seen a couple one more time battles in the top 16 and grade 8 so far. That was our second. The first one was between Tetsuya Kume and Matty Hill. Matty Hill got the better of Kume in that run, but now he's going to be facing Andrew Gray in the grade 8.
I'm looking for that great mimic on initiation, but he might not be able to do it because of the distance.
And speed a factor here as Gray rocket chips, and he's not allowing Matty Hill to play much of a role. Hill is having to make adjustments, but it's not really mattering. And this run will quickly come to a conclusion because Andrew Gray has an absolute beast on his hands and seems to be getting quicker every run and just gets out of the gate really fast and keeps the pace all the way.
Wow, that was an incredible display of speed. But Andrew Gray was not very precise. You can see that he missed outside zone 1. He was kind of on that inside line, and then looking at outside zone 2, kind of on the inside line again, not really getting fully into those zones, but man, is he fast. And you could tell that he was pushing it a little bit more than previous runs. There's a lot more smoke from his car. It looked way more aggressive than usual. Maybe he was watching Matty Hill in those other battles and said to himself, you know what, this guy is going to be a threat. I'm going to have to shut him down as quickly as possible. And by just blasting away on the lead run like that, it really sets the tone and makes it so that that chase driver has no chance whatsoever of even putting together a chase run.
Well, arguably the most important part of the run for Andrew Gray is going to be right now in the chase position, because obviously he can't let Matty Hill better him in the lead run, which is certainly possible to do no matter how close Andrew Gray is. But it will be the proximity that will be a big factor here if he can keep Matty Hill close to him.
There's no doubt in my mind, watching what we just watched, that he should have any trouble keeping him close.
That's correct.
But it's how well he's going to be able to mimic and stay close while fulfilling the chase driver responsibilities.
So he is keeping him pretty close. Matty gets that good initiation. He floats it out once again, maybe a little bit too deep in outside zone 1. Big angle through inside clip 1. And Gray makes an adjustment. Little bit of a love tap there. Now moving through the final outside zone into this inside clip. Gray this time right in the pocket. And Matty Hill actually gets off the gas a little bit before the finish line. Loses a little bit of angle there. And as expected, Gray attacked and surged. But let's take a look at this one more time.
I was a little bit worried about Matty Hill maybe pushing a little too hard in the lead because he thinks he's got to go fast, and he almost did here in outside zone 1. He went 2 tires off almost there and kind of overshot the end of outside zone 1. Right here pours big angle and then grabs a whole handful of parking brake. Andy Gray does a great job of adapting to that and not hitting him too hard. And then as we get to the finish line here, you see that Andrew Gray is kind of choked up by Matty Hill shutting it down a little bit early there at the finish line. So So I think Andrew did a great job of adapting to what Matt was doing in the lead. And let's watch the overhead here. This should give us a really great view of what happened. So Andrew Gray nice and close. Matty Hill goes 1, potentially 2 tires off there at outside zone 1. Throws big angle here. Andrew's trying to maintain angle. And then right there you've got Matty Hill grabbing a big handful of e-brake, missing the end of outside zone 2. But then through the finish you see Andrew Gray nice and tight. Matty Hill hits that inside clip and shuts it down right at the finish line, kind of giving Andrew nowhere to go. But I don't think that's Andrew's fault in any way, as he was trying to maintain momentum, maintain proximity, which is what we tell them to do in the chase position.
Well, it is now a victory for Andrew Gray, and all 3 judges go in his favor. A very heroic battle from Matty Hill, but it will result in an L here against Andrew Gray, the 3-time champion. And no reason to hang your head, Matty. That was a great competition throughout the weekend for you, including some really awesome battles and a one more time against Tetsuya Kume. And the other announcers over there giving a round of applause to Matty Hill along with a lot of the fans here. But he will be out of competition. Andrew Gray moving into the Final 4. And Ryan, looking how things are shaping up, number 1 and number 2 qualifiers in the Final 4 so far, with only Ueo and Yamashita and Chiam and Minowa to determine the last 2 spots.
This should be another great battle. 2 drivers that are really straight up, that have powerful cars, and they're able to get through this course with relatively good speed, compared to some of the other competitors out here today.
Shinji Minowa, Benjamin Chiam. Chiam maybe over-gripped up, but he could use it against Minowa. Incredibly fast as he fills that first outside zone. Now through that inside clip, it gets taken out. Minowa looking awesome here in the lead position as Benjamin Chiam keeps the proximity on. He's got to surge forward, and both drivers scream through that finish line. Chiam looked like he came off outside zone 1 a little bit early, Ryan, but let's take a look at this run one more time.
Shinji Minowa showing those years of experience. He's able to put his car repeatedly in the same spot every run, and he's pretty consistent with his precision. So you can see outside zone 1, really good job on that line. Through there, you can see Benjamin hitting the inside clip. Number 2, look at where Shinji's putting his car, right on the wall, riding that outside line on outside zone 2. Great job on zone 3. In the chase, Benjamin's not doing a terrible job. He's not super close, but he's not really far behind either. He could have been closer and maybe been a little bit more precise on his line. He wasn't mimicking Shinji 100%, as you said, kind of dipped off of outside zone 1 a little bit early, but you got to make some compromises sometimes against a driver like Shinji that has so much experience and is just such a precise and repeatable driver. Behind the wheel, he's somebody he's been driving for many, many years and done a lot of different competitions. I rode along with him at Ebisu one of my first times up there, and he blew my mind. And let's see what he does here against Benjamin.
Benjamin Chiam in the lead position this time around. 2-step snap. Pretty good job on outside zone, but Shinji is right there with him. A little bit less angle from Shinji. Makes a mistake at inside clip 1. Benjamin Chiam can capitalize on this. Oh no, and he unwinds angle right before outside zone 3. Last turn, just a little bump of that inside clip. And the drivers, once again, making it tough on the judges here. Let's go back and look at this one more time, Ryan.
All right, so we're going to be comparing lead to lead here. We know that Shinji did a really precise job on outside zone 1 and 2. How did Benjamin do? Pretty good on outside zone 1. Shinji might have been a little bit deeper in the lead position there. In the chase, Shinji did lose a bit of angle coming to inside clip number 1, and then right there, Benjamin pulls some out himself. So it looks like Benjamin did make a couple of mistakes in the lead, and Shinji made one in the chase. This overhead view should help us out a lot. We love this view. Thank you, Mr. Drone Operator. So looking at what Shinji's able to do in the chase here. It looked like Benjamin had a slow rotation on initiation. Right here is where Shinji drops some angle, gets the car back to angle right there. Benjamin doesn't fill all of outside zone 2, and neither does Shinji. And then right there, Benjamin drops some angle. Shinji maintains his angle, and then they come around the finish line. Pretty close proximity and mimic at that point in time.
All right, so it looks like all 3 judges have put their scores in, or their victor, their decision. we go. Car number 90. 1, 2 will do it. And 3, no, 2.5. We get a split decision there. A one more time call by Robbie Nishida. Both Andy Yen and Ryan Lantain going to Shinji Minowa, who will move on into the Final Four. I heard you conversing over there with your fellow judges. Ryan, anything of interest?
No, they were just trying to get the proper information relayed down to the start line, so that, or the finish line, I guess you could call it. They wanted to get that information down to them because they need to inform the drivers of the winner down there as well. So they were just trying to get my info, my result, let's say, for that information to be passed on.
All right. Kanta Yanaguida, Andrew Gray, Shinji Minowa in the Final Four. One slot left.
I'm not upset about having to watch these two go again.
No, we can keep going one more time. We got plenty of sunlight. Katsuhiro Ueo and Koichi Yamashita. The one more time battle. Pretty similar start. A little bit of space from Ueo. Now he surges forward. Gets pretty close, but Yamashita blasting through that inside clip. Ueo diving in on the inside. Oh no! He keeps the angle in the car, but he came on a little bit of a tighter line. Now Yamashita turning around that final corner with Ueo just off the back bumper.
I want to keep an eye on Yamashita's wheels, rear wheels there at outside zone 2. I can't be sure, but it looked like he may have grabbed a handful of e-brake that caused Ueo to have to kind of stall up a bit to avoid contact. But looking here, Yamashita, great job in outside zone 1, and Ueo's right there with him, matching everything that he's doing. So right here, yeah, there was a handbrake pull there, and you can see it affected Ueo. So you can't really put that 100% on Ueo. He was nice and close with a lot of angle, and then had to slow up, which caused him to even get more angle at that point in time. But definitely not ideal from Yamashita pulling the handbrake there. He should have slowed down a little bit earlier and then been smooth through that area on throttle. So not ideal from him, and not 100% Ueo's fault for that in my eyes.
All right, good catch there, Ryan, as now we will switch things up. Katsuhiro Ueo will take the lead. We can expect another smoke show here. Tip to tail initiation very early. Big angle there. Bouncing around is Katsuhiro Ueo. This time in the outside zone, Ueo fills it completely. Yamashita's on a tighter line. He's going to lose a little bit there to Ueo in the chase-to-chase comparison. Through the final inside clip, Yamashita takes it out. And this time around, it seemed like Ueo had a pretty structured and balanced lead run with not a lot of major mistakes.
Ueo again burning all the way up the straightaway to initiation. Great job in outside zone 1 again. Got that tire in the deeper part of that outside zone 1. Great job here. Look at that transition. Doesn't fully fill outside zone 2, but gets the tire on the line. Nice angle through there, and then gets out to outside zone 3, and then a nice fluid line through to inside clip number 2 and across the finish line.
All right, so the winner of the one more time battle will completely fill our Final Four. Taking a look at it again, you can see Ueo got out to a great jump. Yamashita started to pull him in. Ueo hit that inside clip. Was able to fill that outside zone, but Yamashita was on a tighter line there. Didn't all the way follow Ueo out to outside zone 2. And then Yamashita just hitting that inside clip through the finish line.
And the interesting thing I saw on this overhead replay was that Ueo did a great initiation, snap to angle, and then Yamashita in the chase, it was a slow rotation. He didn't really get that same style of initiation that Ueo had, and that kind of takes away a little bit of Yamashita's proximity. You know, he's not really matching what the lead driver's doing, so it's a little bit easier for him to maintain proximity through the outside zone 1 area.
All right, so here we go. Results are in. Andy Yen goes for Koichi Yamashita. Ryan Lantain goes for Katsuhiro Ueo. Robbie Nishida goes for one more time. So this is our first split decision. And it went in favor of both drivers for one judge and down the middle for Robbie Nishida. So once again, we will be taxing those vehicles. You have to wonder how that will have an impact on whoever does move on, but we'll have to see it again. And because this is the final slot in the Final Four, it means that we will
have to wait.
Have to wait.
Yes, sir. I guess these splits have to happen once in a while, right?
Yeah, I mean, maybe once an event, is usually my recollection. Maybe once every other event, something like that.
Yeah.
And that's fine.
I don't think it happened in St. Louis, did it?
Don't remember.
I don't think it did. Not standing out in my mind. It could have happened. My memory can be less
not
than
letter
ideal
perfect.
at times. Yeah, less than ideal. But I don't think it did. It's not something that we've seen very often lately, let's say.
All right, so we will take a commercial break. We will get these guys a brand new set of tires and back to the start line to finish this bad boy off. It's the G-Shock Presents Formula Drift Japan Championship Round 4 at OKUIBUKI Ski and Snowboard Park. We'll be right back to jump into the Final Four. All right, and we are back after a split decision here at the G-Shock Presents Formula Drift Japan Championship. Back at the line with Goichi Yamashita and Katsuhiro Ueo. 2 one more times have led us to this point. The last time it was a split decision. The first time it was 2 judges, one more time, 1 judge in favor of Yamashita. Is that right?
Which one?
The first one more time.
They did one more time, and I did Ueo.
Ueo, okay, one in Ueo. Here we go. The one more time battle. Number 2. Nice in tandem there initiation by both drivers. Ueo trying to mimic Yamashita. Big e-brake pull this time around. Fills that zone completely. Ueo's on a bit of a tighter line. Now down the hill. Yamashita got a little breathing room there. And Ryan, it'll be your guys' job to try to find that point of difference here.
Well, Ueo definitely made some mistakes on that run, more than Yamashita did, I think. So looking at Yamashita's lead, he gets the car to angle pretty smoothly. About midpoint in that outside zone 2 box. Pretty decent on inside clip 1. Nice and close to that wall. Rubbed it with the rear corner. And then unfortunately Ueo there on the inside, and he had no excuse this time. He should have been close. He should have been mimicking the line, but he was far inside, and he didn't really get out the way that Yamashita did, and it put him on a tighter line coming to inside or outside zone 3, and then he fell off from that point on because he wasn't able to get back on throttle the same way. And unfortunately, that will be held against Ueo, I think, pretty universally there. And now Ueo in the lead. He could go deeper in zone 1 to outdo Yamashita. The outside zone 2, he's going to have to do as good as Yamashita did. Yamashita was pretty much on the outside line there. He rubbed his bumper on the wall at the beginning of outside zone 2 and did a great job throughout. So Ueo really, his only opportunity in the lead to better what Yamashita did is to get deeper in zone 1 and be more consistent through zone 2 as well.
Second half of the number 2 one more time battle. This time Ueo in the lead. Yamashita looks like he may have a little bit of the pendulum swinging in his direction. He's got to hold it together here. Oh, Ueo unwinds it. And that'll be the run shut down. Yamashita does not need to finish the run.
Looks like a mechanical for Ueo.
And we talked about the reliability of the vehicles. And it looks like Ueo is paying a bit of a price here.
Yeah, that's the thing when you're throwing these cars run after run after run, not letting them cool down, pushing them as hard as they've been pushing them. Something's bound to break. Looking at Ueo in the lead here, gets the car to angle really nicely. Perfect line on outside zone number 1. He was bettering what Yamashita did there, but unfortunately the car just wouldn't hold together.
All right, so we will get the results here, which seem pretty unambiguous at this point. And you have to applaud these 2 warriors for giving us a great show. But it will be Koichi Yamashita getting a unanimous victory here after a mechanical failure against Katsuhiro Ueo. All right, and we are getting word that we're going to be going down to our sideline reporter, so we'll bring in Robbie Nishida for the translation.
How's your day going so far, Robbie?
Man, the calls are just, it's so hard because all the driving is
So
just
tight,
crazy
right?
here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like good battles, one after another, you know. This is really, really tough.
As we wait on our reporter, I'm going to watch the replay one more time.
Yep.
Yep.
And these guys do not make it easy for us. I mean, everything could go either way, like this battle that we just saw against Yamashita and Ueo. The first two, I mean, you know, I guess slight advantage, disadvantage for both cars, but at the end it kind of equaled out. So it's unfortunate that Ueo's car looks like something happened to it during his lead run.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, well, we were expecting to see another great battle. It could have been like 4, 5, 6, one more time. We would have been here till nighttime.
We
Yeah.
would have been here all day watching one more time.
And turn on the lights tonight. Yep.
Yeah, he had a better line there through outside zone 1, but
Yeah.
unfortunately something happened right there and he wasn't able to keep going. Yamashita was, I'm not saying fortunate for that, but it did give him a much
はい、じゃあ
easier
カンタ選手にいろいろ伺いたいと思います。
All right, let's talk to Yanaguida Kanta.
カンタ選手は体調がちょっと優れなかったというふうに
And
伺ったんですけれど
coming into this,
も、
you weren't doing
順
well.
調ですね。いかがです
You were under the
か？
weather.
もう
How are
体
you
調
doing
バッ
now?
チリで、
I'm
僕
feeling
今
great
もバ
now.
ッチリなんで、
Car's doing
あと
great
は
as
思い
well.
っきりやるだけです。
All I have to do is just do it.
初優勝目指して
And
頑
you
張
are
ってくだ
looking
さい
to be
ね。
the
はい、
first,
頑張ります。
win the first event for yourself, right? It's like, yep, I'm gonna go for it. Good luck.
ありがとうござい
a
ます。
man of many words.
Back to you.
Yanaguida.
That was an easy one for you, Robbie. Thank you very much. And now that the final four is filled, let's take a look at how everybody qualified to get here. We had Yanaguida at that number 1 spot that we've been talking about, Gray in the number 2. They are on opposite sides of the bracket. Ueo getting knocked out here against Yamashita. Yamashita was number 5. And then, of course, we have Shinji Minowa. He was number 6. So 3 of the 4 competitors are championship contenders. Gray, Minowa, Yamashita. Gray has the most to, Yamashita has the most to gain here, being at number 2 in points, just about inside 30 points out of the championship right now. But depending on where Gray ends up, if it is those 2 drivers in the finals, we could certainly see a shift from third and second place in those guys chasing down Wataru Masuyama. Masuyama has got to be just really eating it right now because the 2 drivers that he did not want to make to the Final Four are there now, and they have gained enough points to really tighten up this championship.
So right now we're waiting for Yamashita to get some tires on his car as he just finished battling Ueo. And once he has tires on his car, we will have Yanaguida, qualified first, leading Yamashita, who qualified 5th. 2 very different cars, 2 seemingly different driving styles, 2 very different drivers. Yanaguida is, 19? And Yamashita, I'm not going to take a guess, but he's a little bit older, more distinguished, let's say. Been around the game for quite a while. Yamashita definitely has a bigger car, that JZX. Yanaguida is driving a 2J powered car as well, but his is an S13. Some say the S13s are a little bit, have a bit of an advantage here at this track just due to the technicality, the size of the track itself. But if you look at what Yamashita and Gray have been doing, and Manoa for that matter, in their JZXs, they might have something else to say about that. So 3 JZXs and 1 S chassis have made it to the Final Four here. Yanaguida is going to need all of his power that he has in that 2J against Yamashita today. Yamashita has been doing some very consistent runs. He's only made a couple of little mistakes during his battles. So Yanaguida is going to have to be on his A game. Yanaguida, very pro-USA, as we saw today, with his big flag flying out there. I don't know what statement he's making there, but maybe he's just saying that I'm ready to go to the U.S. This is my indication or my statement that I'm on my way.
Well, I have been informed of a large contingent of drivers heading to the final round at Irwindale Speedway the 3rd week of October. And
as spectators, you mean?
As spectators, yeah. And there was a large group that came last year to see the event and watch some of the driving. As we mentioned earlier on yesterday, Masuyama also has been sniffing around. He came out to Evergreen Speedway and caught him for a few moments coming out of the judging tower. So we do know that there are a lot of drivers here that do aspire to do what Taguchi has been doing in the U.S., and he's been having a pretty solid year this year now that he's in a much more comfortable ride for him in that S15.
And didn't he move to the U.S. now as well?
Yeah, I think he's going to be working there for the foreseeable future. So
he's Up Garage USA now, is he not?
Yep.
Yeah. It's exciting. He's doing much better in that S15 than he was in the GTR, so that's good to see. And I'm sure that gives these other drivers a lot of hope as well. If they plan to go to the U.S., they see that a driver that they were competing with and against not too long ago is in the U.S. and doing well, being competitive now. So they would also have the opportunity to do the same and potentially have the same type of results or perhaps better than he's even been doing. So that's good to see for them. Decent turnout today, Ryan. Crowd is pretty big. We were watching the FMX earlier, and I didn't have anywhere to stand to watch.
Yeah, it's been actually really cool to watch the growth of this particular event over the years. We had a really large Suzuka event, and the Ebisu crowd is always pretty solid as well. Okayama will be a real indicator to look at growth year over year for this young series here. But after 5 years, these guys have really been doing a tremendous job, and it has been showing in the number of registrants that have been trying to get into Formula Drift Japan. Just over 60 for Fuji, over 50 for this event, and it can make qualifying a little bit interesting to have that many competitors. But
from what I've heard, they've actually been trying to bring, like, more drivers have been trying to sign up, but
yeah,
he's had to put a cap on it and turn a few away, more than a few away.
Well, definitely we've reached some of the paddock limits here at this venue. We've also reached some of the paddock limits at Suzuka Twin. Fuji's a little bit of a different story, massive venue there, but drivers have really been showing everybody some of the skill that they possess here in this part of the world, and it's been certainly fun to watch. A lot of maturity develop from some of the younger drivers, like this driver that's on screen right now, Tatiana Guida, first driver up, as he will be battling for better than third place. He's got that locked in. That #1 qualification has given him in one of 3 positions, but it only than that third place.
And Ryan's pointing out that the area is generally what limits our entry list. We joke about not wanting to have to judge 100 drivers at qualifying, but we've done it in the past and we'll happily do it again. But it's truly the paddock space. Well, I happily do everything, Ryan, just to be out here.
Yes.
But it's truly the space that limits us for drivers. We'd have them all out if we could, but it just, you know, I'm sure the schedule would suffer. You know, we'd be there from 7 a.m. till midnight, but it could be done. It's just no room, unfortunately.
All right, let's do this. Who's going to the finals first? Is it going to be Kanta Yanaguida or Koichi Yamashita? Yamashita chasing him down very close, but Yanaguida again, great initiation, fills that zone. A little bit less angle there from Yamashita, who hits that inside clip. Yanaguida keeping the throttle down, and a little bit tight there with the angle was Yamashita once again. Yamashita may have the quicker vehicle, but he was surging in some areas. He had a little bit of reduced angle, had good proximity, but Yanaguida did exactly what he needed to do in the lead position, and that was run as close to a 100-point qualifying run as he can.
Yeah, this was a great run. Look at that rotation, that initiation. Great snappy initiation right on that outside line with his outside tire. Beautifully done there. Could have been slightly deeper at the beginning of outside zone 2, but filled it right to the end nonetheless. And then you've got Yamashita right on his door all the way around. Yamashita did not give him much room at all through this run. But, you know, like we always say, you need a good lead to have a good chase. And in this case, we had very good in both positions. So it's going to be a tight battle, I think. Watching what comes up next is going to really let us know who is going to have an advantage in one of the 2 positions. But it's going to be a matter of, not inches, but millimeters here. Maybe it's going to be super, super tight.
Second half, a little bit of a gap established. Yamashita needs to not run away. He needs to really focus on the lead run, and he makes a brutal mistake. And look at this, the plastic goes right to the right-hand side of the door of Yanaguida. That was unbelievable, and it was all due to a mistake by Yamashita out front. Let's take a look at that again as he explodes that inside clip and throws the plastic base right at Yanaguida.
That was very sloppy from Yamashita. Definitely over-rotated after outside zone 1. So you can see here, didn't get really deep at the beginning, but near the end he over-rotated, came way down on angle, ran over that inside clip, and then sent the rubber base up over the roof. So definitely made some big errors there in the lead position, and Kanta in chase position really had no choice but to try to keep up despite all those errors from the lead driver, who's not really fulfilling the lead driver goal. So he got way out ahead here, but over-rotated very seriously there. You can see that he straightened up considerably and then lost a lot of his line was very, very poor there. And then Kanta trying to, at this point, catch up, but Yamashita never really let up from that point on.
All right, so tough call for the judges. We did see the quicker car gain some gain a gap, but he did make a mistake or two. Yanaguida had a tremendous lead run. Beautiful lead run by Yanaguida, and that's been one of the points of difference for him throughout this event. All right, so judges already talking about the run as we wait for the results.
I was looking at both KYs and like, why are they both KY? I didn't realize their initials were the same.
Here we go. Number 8 or 57. Andy Yen goes for Yanaguida. Ryan Lantane goes for Yanaguida. He is going to the finals. Robbie Nishida, the one standout, going one more time, but it is a split decision to Kanta Yanaguida in his favor, going to the finals.
Well, yeah, it came down to Yamashita's mistake in the lead. Yes, he was further ahead, but he just made such a big mistake there that couldn't be forgiven. Lead-to-lead comparison, like you said, Yanaguida did an excellent job in the lead. Yamashita beat himself here, essentially. He did all of that on his own.
All right, so one driver really cheering that victory by Yanaguida is going to be Wataru Masuyama.
For sure.
As he will only secure final 4 points. It'll still be a lot, but with about 30 points difference, that means the gap would only be close to 10, because the difference between first place and second place is from 100 to 80 points. So he will close the gap, but will be limited as he's now out of competition. Another driver that could close the gap in a meaningful way is Andrew Gray, number 3 in points, number 2 in qualification. Shinji Minowa, number 5 in points, number 6 in qualification. Here we go. Gray taking the lead. The two JZXs pretty close here on initiation. Big burnout and snaps. Minowa nearly hits him as he kind of loses a little bit of angle there, but he's keeping the proximity on. Comes through the smoke line. Gray taps the wall. Massive smoke line from Gray. Minowa trying to fight through it. Gray extends his lead as he pulls through that final inside clip. And man, he really gripped up, but still kept a great line from outside zone 2 to inside clip number 2.
Andrew Gray has a rocket ship of a car. I don't know if anybody can keep up to him on this track, or any track for that matter. Outside zone 1, gets into it kind of in the middle and leaves it a little bit early. Transitions here to the wall where he crunches that rear corner, but comes off of outside zone 2 a little bit early. Shinji, on the other hand, in the chase is just trying to keep up. He's trying to maintain that proximity, but having a hard time doing so. And just looks like Andrew Gray is untouchable in terms of speed, pace, momentum carrying throughout this course. So it's going to be very difficult for Minowa to beat the chase to chase. I think it's going to be hard to see how Gray can't keep up to Minowa, but anything could happen here at initiation. Could be a mistake made in the lead position. Shinji's going to have to get himself filling outside zone 1, filling outside zone 2 without making that wall tap that sent Gray maybe a little bit off of outside zone 2 early. So Shinji does have some opportunities. If he fills 1, fills 2, and gets around this course clean in the lead position and doesn't try to get away. That's going to be the key thing here, I think, is just focus on running your lead as you've been running it. Don't try to go faster. Don't try to outrun Andrew, because clearly that's not going to happen. You just have to focus on what you need to do in the lead and not make any mistakes.
All right, so Ryan, you've teed it up here as we will begin the second half of this battle. And Gray, no surprise, is not letting him get away. Minowa deep into that outside zone, but Gray is right there. Door to door through this inside clip, which Minowa runs over the base. Minowa gets deep into that outside zone. Gray does a pretty good job. He was a little bit tighter. Oh, they bumped. Gray tapped Minowa coming through this final inside clip. Gray not letting him get away, and Ryan, as you expected, Gray was right there. Shinji did have a pretty solid lead though, but when you look at the chase to chase, looks like Gray was able to keep proximity without making too many mistakes in that position.
Yeah, I think if Shinji had done a better job around inside clip 1, it would have lined him up better for outside zone 2. So look right here, I don't think his arc was big enough going around inside clip 1, and then he got to that wall a little bit early, and he didn't quite fill all of outside zone 2 as well as he could have, but Andrew Gray was right there with him regardless. He didn't give him an inch, so couldn't shake him, and it's going to be hard to, I think, for anybody to outdo Andrew Gray in terms of just speed and pace through this course.
Well, let's set this up real quick. If Gray wins, that means Koichi Yamashita will be your third place podium finisher. 1 for Andrew Gray. 2 locks it in, and Robbie Nishida gives it 3. Unanimous victory for Andrew Gray. He is going to the finals against Kanta Yanaguida. It's number 1 and number 2 in qualifying in the finals. Wow. Well, we've been setting ourselves up for this potential battle here, Ryan, and it's worth noting that both drivers could not be more different in the finals. We've got Yanaguida, who's been very smooth and consistent, tremendous lead runs. We've had Gray, who's been relatively consistent, but really the standout attribute has been his speed and the ability to get around the course very fast. And that should create a very interesting juxtaposition here as these two drivers get ready for the final battle here at OKUIBUKI Ski and Snowboard Park.
So Yanaguida did win the previous battle. I'm not saying anything bad about that, but it seems like Yamashita's car, his driving style, his speed would have been better matched to Gray coming into the finals. Yanaguida was almost left behind by Yamashita. We haven't seen Yamashita and Gray go up to one another, so I don't know whose car is faster, but I'm just feeling like Yanaguida is going to be left behind again against Gray. It's going to be hard for him to match Gray's speed, especially coming up this hill, a hill where, you know, torque is going to be very helpful. They both have 2Js, but Andrew Gray's, I believe, is the Tomei 3.4 Genesis engine, which is very, very powerful, clearly. He's got that Velino grip from those tires. And Yanaguida also has Velinos, but clearly less power. So we'll just have to see how they play out.
You want me to make a strong claim real quick?
Make a strong claim, Ryan.
All right. My claim is that Yanaguida should actually get out of the gate much, much earlier. I think because you can time the lights, he should try to get out of the gate maybe even, I'd say, a quarter way up the hill to try to stay with him up the hill. Because I think maybe in here he can kind of hang, except for that leaving outside zone 2. Right? But it'll give him a fighting chance in the proximity side of things.
I think you're right.
Otherwise, if it's like you said against Yamashita, he's really going to have to hope that Gray makes a mistake.
He's going to lose the battle before they even get halfway up the hill, unfortunately. It's just the reality of some cars are more powerful and faster and have more grip built into their car than other drivers, you know, than other cars. So
he's made it this far, right? He's made it this far. Really has nothing to lose.
Other than first place.
Yeah, that, of course. Sorry, bad choice of words. He has something to lose, but he's got a lot to gain.
He does, absolutely. And it's just...
He could do it.
Yeah, he could do it. It could happen. I mean, Yamashita was clearly the more dominant driver in the lead position speed-wise, and yet he made a mistake.
Yep.
Right? He came up the hill, initiated around that corner, and over-rotated, made a huge error. Yanaguida, on the other hand, super clean, really well done lead run, and he won based on that. So it can happen. It's not that it can't happen. It's just unfortunate that we're going to see that separation unless Yanaguida plays it perfect, leaving the start line.
Get out of there.
A little bit early.
Get out of there 1, 2, maybe 2.5 seconds early.
Yeah.
Just get aggressive.
But the interesting thing here is that Yanaguida leads first because he is the first place qualifier, right? So
Yeah.
he does get to set the
Can
tone
set
on
the
the
standard,
first.
yeah.
It's just how's it going to play out on the second run when he has to try to keep up? Is he going to have to make some compromises, or is he going to maintain his line and just keep that proximity, the distance between the two of them, a little bit less than it should be? It's tough, Seeing a car as fast and dominant as Gray's, it makes you wonder, do we need some tighter regulations on tires here? It's just crazy because there's nothing else you can do. We can't do a horsepower limit. That's the beauty of drifting. It's beauty of Formula Drift. We let the cars do whatever they want to do, but it just seems like the tires are pretty wild here, although they're both running on the same tires.
We're going to put them on 205s next year.
Yeah, 205s. There we go. Everybody in SR-powered small cars with 195s, and it'll be fair. We like the diversity. We like all of that, but we sometimes wish for closer tandem battles as opposed to one driver blowing out all the other ones with crazy high-performance cars,
Well, Gray has the best of almost every world when it comes to the attributes of a vehicle. We see something similar to that in the U.S. series with James Dean and Peter Vinsek. They've got a well-proven chassis, very, very reliable, and they're both incredible drivers. So they don't have the constraints, and they also have a tremendous tire. So they don't really have a lot of the constraints built in to the program that allows them the freedom and flexibility to really do what they want to do, to have the best possible drifting chassis and setup that they can. And that seems to be true here with Andrew Gray as well. He's been driving vehicles like that for many, many years. He understands the power plant. He understands what the car can do. I wish that when he came to the U.S., he would have actually brought the vehicle that he competed in here, because I think he would have made a much stronger impact. But the story is in front of us. It is Kanta Yanaguida, the #1 qualifier. No matter what happens here in the finals, it will have been a tremendous event for him and his best result of the season so far. He will move swiftly up the ranks after this, and it will be a great setup event for him going into the finals at Okayama in just about 2 months from now.
Better put a bigger turbo on that too, Jay.
Or a month and a half, actually, yeah. So he is psyched no matter what. He is going to be at the line first. Gray will warm up his tires second, and we'll get this battle underway. The three-time champion looking to make it a fourth in 2019. He's got to get by this young buck here.
A little bit of duct tape hanging off the back of his car from that wall tap earlier. We hope to see another couple of bumpers rubbing against walls here. We like to see that precision, but you don't want to see him smashing the wall. Just a nice rub, just showing how close they can get and how accurate they can be at the speeds that they're achieving with their foot buried in the throttle. I love seeing this stuff.
The contrast of this battle could not be more different, right? You've got a Scottish 6'2" guy on the right, and a very young and small driver in Kanta Yanaguida on the right.
Yeah.
And the cars also speak to that as well.
They do. You're absolutely right.
All right, let's David and Goliath it. Here we go. Yanaguida, 96 points qualifying run. Can he take out the three-time champ? Once again, great job on that first outside zone. Gray, as expected, is keeping it close. Yanaguida just taps that inside clip. He is deep into that outside zone, and Gray taps him. Okay, we've got a point of contact with Gray going off course. Yanaguida through that final inside clip. And the question will be, was Gray too aggressive, or was there any kind of slowdown from Yanaguida? We will go to the replay to check it out.
My first reaction is that Yanaguida parked it slightly there at an area where you should be going through on throttle. We told the drivers no abrupt slowdowns anywhere on course here. It looks to me like Yanaguida was at fault for that, but let's have a look at the replay to to justify what I'm saying here. Yeah, he slowed down so significantly, lost angle, and Andrew Gray just had nowhere to go. So that is definitely on Yannick Guida in my eyes, but I'll have to talk to the other drivers here, or judges, sorry, to see what they think.
All right, so the replay showing a bit of a slowdown there from Kanta Yanaguida out front. Contact from Gray. You can see Gray's vehicle center of the screen right there. As we are assessing the vehicle for damage, you can see the duct tape on the left rear quarter panel and also on the rear. That was from an incident where he just grazed the beginning of outside zone 2. So it looks like the other judges are going in favor of Gray here in terms of the fault of contact, meaning that would be against Yanaguida. Is that confirmed, Ryan?
That is confirmed.
All right, so that's unanimous from those 3 judges.
Yep, so 5-7's at fault. Yanaguida definitely parked his car there in an area where he should not have been doing that. Not that you should do it anywhere else on the track, but clearly that is a vital area on the track where the lead driver needs to be maintaining momentum flowing through that area so that the chase car can do the same in the chase. If, as we just saw, the chase car is impeded in that area, then that just ruins the rest of the run, which is a very on-throttle portion of this track, and there's no way that they can be expected to maintain proximity and get through that section.
And when you say parked it, you're speaking in a colloquial sense, meaning that's how you're describing what happened. You're not saying, oh, he did that intentionally.
Exactly. It's just it's what I saw on the track.
It's a descriptive term.
Exactly. I'm not implying that anybody did anything on purpose. There was just a reduction in speed in that area that is not in line with what we requested of the drivers in the drivers' meeting. So that is something that was totally unexpected for the chase driver, Andrew Gray, and he would not be expected to continue drifting behind that as the lead driver was doing something outside of the norm and outside of what they should be doing in that area.
Well, I can tell you exactly what's going on here. It's Andrew Gray inquiring about whether or not he was at fault for the contact or whether or not Yanaguida was at fault for the contact, because that will dictate his strategy for the second half of this run. And knowing that he was not at fault is going to change the dynamics of how he sets himself up. But we are seeing that the team is taking the time here. They would have up to 10 minutes to make any adjustments to the vehicle from a mechanical perspective if there was damage, as they're assessing it right now.
So you see James there getting the car checked over, making sure there's no damage to the car, no problems with that corner. Want to make sure that Andrew has 100% of the car under him so that he can drive, 100% and number 100 in his JZX 100.
100 going 100.
Yep.
Well, the Team Kazama power vehicles of Andrew Gray being looked over. You have to wonder what's going through the head of Kanta Yanaguida. It's unclear whether or not he's aware that he's at fault, as he has been sitting at the start line in the chase position waiting for this to take place. I think he could infer, if he understands the rules correctly, that if it goes over 5 minutes, then, or that he has radio communication, he'll know that he is at fault, and that would also at least dictate for him what he needs to do here. But we will soon find out. So Yanaguida being told to move off the line as we await the second half of this battle. Was hoping to get it through it cleanly. Was hoping for that.
Your hopes and dreams mean nothing, Ryan.
But, who knows? Maybe all of this, the thing with drifting in general is that it's really hard to make predictions.
It really is.
You have statistics going into a battle. This guy wins this often against this guy. But as we've seen in so much of what transpires back home, but also here, is that it is really hard to make any kind of prediction about any battle, really.
Yeah, or the competition as a whole. We give you know, you make a scheduled time for the event. You say, oh, it's going to take, you know, X amount of hours to do this. Maybe let's give it 3 hours. And then it ends up taking 4 or 2. You never know. It can go super smooth beginning to end, and you end up finishing way early, or it's just a lot of stuff like this, and we end up going way over. You never, ever know. It's so hard to predict from battle to battle, run to run, what's going to happen. Car braking, collisions, weather conditions that can come in. You just never know. But that's what makes it interesting. And throughout the event, getting to interview the drivers and see where their heads are at gives us a really good indication of how the drivers are dealing with what's going on as well. And it's really fun to see the different personalities out there and how they sometimes clash.
And you mentioned weather. It has not been a factor at this event. Only very little on Friday's practice was a part of some of the sessions for practice, but really not a factor in competition at all. It's been actually relatively nice, pretty sunny, few clouds here and there. Nighttime it gets nice and cool, which is pretty awesome. So we've had good weather here. And it has led us to this point. The number 1 and number 2 qualifier. Number 1 right there, number 2 on the left-hand side of your screen. Right now, number 1 is sitting at fault for contact. The second half will solidify the victory for one of these 2 drivers. Andrew Gray, as expected, gets a good gap on Yanaguida. He's really got to focus on this lead run. Don't do anything that would jeopardize his victory here. If he can get through the finish line, it'll be pretty clear who the winner is. And car number 100 passes through, no mistakes in the lead position. And it's not going to be too difficult as we lose both drivers in the smoke to figure out who gets the win here after the fault of contact. And confirmation of that from all 3 judges. Andrew Gray just needed to get through this run to solidify the victory. This right here is more or less of a victory lap if he was able to get through it, Ryan, and no major mistakes there for Andrew Gray.
Yeah, you're right. Everything looked pretty clean. He could have gone deeper in 2, but overall, really nothing to speak poorly about other than that. You know, you had mentioned that Yanaguida should jump the light. He did just ever so slightly. Would have taken more advantage of that. Maybe that would have given him a little bit more proximity on initiation, but he managed to kind of dive bomb in there and wasn't too far off through the rest of the run. But without a major error from Andrew Gray, there wasn't really a whole lot that could be done there for Yanaguida, unfortunately, just due to his mistake in run number 1. So that advantage that he had going first that we talked about earlier was unfortunately not taken advantage of by Yanaguida due to that mistake, that error that he made. Now, looking at the run up until that point, Andrew Gray was not letting him get away. He was mimicking what he was doing throughout the entire run and clearly had the proximity, because as soon as Yanaguida slowed down there, Gray had nowhere to go but into the side of his car. So there wasn't really a whole lot Yanaguida could do at that point. But he fought valiantly, tried as hard as he could. Made a slight mistake, but I think you know, qualifying first and potentially here finishing second is a pretty strong statement from him.
All right, well, we'll rack these drivers up. We'll bring up our 3rd place finisher of Koichi Yamashita as well. We'll go through the final ceremonies to award the victor here at the 4th round of the G-Shock Presents Formula Drift Japan Championship at OKUIBUKI Ski and Snowboard Park. When we come back, find out who is going to be the winner here in the finals, whether it's Andrew Gray or Kanta Yanaguida. All right, and we are back live here at OKUIBUKI Ski and Snowboard Park for the winner's announcement. The final between Kanta Yanaguida, your number 1 qualifier, making it all the way to the finals against Andrew Gray, who qualified number 2. So the Japanese announcers letting everybody here know on site what we already knew, that the third place driver is going to be Koichi Yamashita. A good victory, a good result for him. Currently second place in points. Now let's bring it down to the golf voices. And there it is, the winner, Andrew Gray, as expected after the fault of contact from Kanta Yanaguida. He is a very happy man, his first win of the year, his second win of the year. And Kanta Yanaguida, as you can see, very much the David to Andrew Gray's Goliath. As we take a look at the three cars there, we will bring in Robbie Nishida for the interview of each driver, which is traditional. Robbie, as we bring you on the mic.
Oh, we're going to do Andy first.
Okay. All right, get in the mix, son.
So this is a very important round for me for the championship. I know we had a lot of issues with the car, but the team did great. I think the car was really great and the team did really great. The driver was so-so, but I really have to thank you, everybody, and all my sponsors. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I did not think I was going to come this far, so it's like a dream for me. Thank you very much. Please take the win one of these rounds, okay? Yes, next time I will. I'm really tired. I mean, just many more times, I was just so tired. But I just really enjoyed the runs. I think me and the car were both at the limit. I think our clutch was starting to go out. I don't think I was able to do our 100% run, but our team, everybody who's here under the heat, I know it's hot out here. Thank you everybody for coming. And congratulations, Andy.
All right, well, thank you, Robbie. As we wind things up here, Ryan, it's going to be a contracted championship chase with Andrew Gray closing the door. Yamashita, the second place in points coming into this event, as Masuyama goes out early. But more or less the star of the show this weekend has been Kanta Yanaguida. Even though he came up short, he had that #1 qualification. He puts himself back into a lot of the discussion about how this championship is going to evolve. So, Ryan, for you, what are the big takeaways?
Tires, Ryan. Very important in this series, it seems like now. But even on this tight track, very important to be precise. Power still was a big part of what we were doing here today. I'm looking forward now to Okayama. What is going to happen at that round? The drivers that we have, we're looking at another maybe 50, 60 drivers coming into that round. That could completely mix up the championship once again. We're pushing these drivers harder and harder, the cars harder and harder, and potentially we could have more breakage and could still keep things interesting throughout the rest of the series, the rest of the championship this year. But great set of battles today, and you got your top 3 finishers here. So we'll be wrapping everything up now.
All right, for everybody here at Formula Drift Japan, Mr. Iwata, Tom Saba, all of our Japanese commentators, Imamura, Andy Yen, Robbie Nishida, Ryan Lantain, and myself, Ryan Sage, we thank you very much for joining us. We will see you in just a little while as we head back to the States for the next round, Formula Drift Texas, but more importantly for the Japanese Championship. It is Okayama up next. Thanks everybody for joining, and we'll see you next time.
実証雨に強いタイヤ。横浜は濡れた路面であなたの想像以上に止まる止まる止まる。日本最高グレードのウェット性能 A をあなたの車に。雨に強いタイヤといえば横浜。
革新のカーボンベゼル。Bluetooth 搭載 G-SHOCK カシオ。The brightness called brilliant. Valenti.
Quality of Japanese craftsmanship. Grid.
What's up guys, it's Frederick Ospo and I use RSR suspension on all my drift cars. I love RSR. Iyo RSR Ichiban.
Kenda。伝統と革新、小倉クラッチのテクノロジーを凝縮。チャンピオンを取るためのクラッチ、小倉レーシングクラッチ ORC。 モティー。
The brightness called brilliant, blinding and vivid. Valenti.